All right, let's dive straight into this explainer. Today, we're looking at how a single season, the monsoon, kicks off this massive cultural, agricultural, and spiritual awakening across northern India. You know, when most of us think of weather, we usually just think of a quick forecast on our phones. But in this part of the world, the arrival of the rain is a totally transformative event. I mean, it dictates everything from what ends up on a family's dinner plate all the way to the migration of tens of millions of people.
So think about this for a second. What could possibly connect a tiny, quiet pot of seeds hidden away in a dark room to 30 million people walking across the country? Well, to answer that, we're going to start small. We'll begin in a very intimate space inside a home in the Himalayas, and then we're going to gradually zoom way out to witness one of the absolute largest human gatherings on Earth. It's a fascinating story of scale, all tied together by the falling rain.
To get started, we have to look at the rhythm of the Baramasa. These are traditional folk songs from Uttarakhand, and they basically act like a musical calendar for the region. They sing about the 6 seasons and the exact agricultural cycles that each one brings. For instance, the lyrics tell us that in the month of Chaitra, the flowers bloom, and during the monsoon month of Shravan, which is really the focal point for us today, the peaches ripen. It's this beautiful oral tradition that keeps the whole community deeply rooted in the cycles of nature.
And that holy monsoon month of Shravan brings us to our first major stop, Harela. This is a deeply personal agricultural festival celebrated mostly in the Kumaon region of Uttarakhand. Translating literally to the Day of Green, Harela is all about celebrating the onset of the monsoon and the incredibly critical start of the sowing cycle for farmers. It's a highly auspicious time that completely relies on the arrival of those life-giving rains.
Now, this isn't just a quick one-day affair. Actually, between 9 and 11 days before the festival, which happens on Kark Sankranti, families do this incredibly careful ritual. A mother figure in the house sows seeds into a small pot or a flat wooden pane, and then they hide it away in a dark room, totally out of the sunlight. From there, an unmarried daughter of the household waters them a few times a day. Essentially, they're creating a mini-controlled environment to test the germination of the upcoming harvest. It's this brilliant mix of ancient agricultural science and deep devotion.
And here is where it gets super interesting. They aren't just tossing in random seeds. These pots get a very precise, deliberate mix of 5 to 7 different grains. We're talking wheat, maize, mustard, horse gram, barley, rice, and soybeans. By testing all of these together, the family is basically securing their agricultural prosperity for the whole year. Oh, and the number of seeds sown, it actually has to be equal to or greater than the number of people in the family, directly tying the health of the crop to the survival of the household.
Okay, fast forward to the actual day of the festival. Those seeds have sprouted into these bright yellow-green shoots in the dark, which are known as the Harela. The family bathes early, makes amazing traditional foods like puris and puas, and then they cut the fresh shoots. The elders take these shoots and gently place them behind the ears or on the heads of the younger family members, chanting this beautiful blessing, Gyere Jigire. It essentially translates to, may you live long and stay awake. It's just a wonderful wish for a long, rooted life in perfect harmony with the earth.
But here's the really cool part, the big takeaway. This ancient folklore perfectly doubles as modern ecological conservation. Over time, Harela has basically become synonymous with the slogan, Save the Environment. Because the whole festival is fundamentally about new growth in the rainy season, people and even local schools use this exact day to plant tree saplings. There's this deeply held belief that any tree planted on Harela is absolutely going to thrive, which makes it a fantastic example of a traditional ritual championing modern environmental awareness.
So we've seen this really quiet, cozy, domestic celebration of the monsoon inside the home, right? It's deeply tied to family and agriculture. But now we're going to completely shift gears. We are zooming out from that private space to look at a massive, highly visible, ascetic celebration happening out on the highways and deep in the forests.
Section 1. Jageshwar, Shiva's forest abode.
To make our transition, we are heading up to an altitude of over 6,100 feet into the dense, rainy deodar forests of the Himalayas. We're here to visit the breathtaking Jageshwar temples. Now, Jageshwar isn't just one single building. It is a staggering cluster of exactly 124 exquisite stone-carved temples in the Jet Ganga River Valley. And their history is vast, dating all the way back to between the 8th and 13th centuries. Legend actually says Lord Shiva himself came to these thick forests to meditate, and today it remains one of the purest pilgrimage sites out there. It's home to major shrines like the Jogeshwar Mahadev Temple, the Dandeshwar Temple, which happens to be the tallest around, and the Mrityunjay Temple, the oldest stone structure there. If you were walking these grounds during the monsoon, you'd hear the continuous, mesmerizing sounds of the Mahamrityunjaya mantra echoing right through the ancient trees.
And that brings us right back to the calendar. During this exact same monsoon month of Shravan, while families are cozy at home celebrating Harela, millions of other devotees are turning their unwavering attention to Lord Shiva. This month is incredibly sacred. It's a dedicated time for fasting, intense pilgrimage, and ultimately giving a massive gesture of thanksgiving to the rain and rivers that make life possible. Which leads us to our final massive zoom out.
Section 2. The Great Kanwar Pilgrimage.
We're leaving the quiet, misty forests behind and hitting the roaring highways of northern India to witness the Kanwar Yatra. If Harela was the micro celebration, this is the ultimate macro celebration. The whole thing gets its name from a simple, ancient tool, the Kanwar. It's a bamboo pole with two roughly equal loads suspended on either end, balanced perfectly across the shoulders of devotees dressed in bright saffron robes, used to carry sacred river water across vast distances.
30 million. That is a staggering number. Up until the late 1980s, this yatra was a relatively small affair, mostly just a few saints and older devotees. But over the last few decades, it has completely exploded. Today, it is India's largest annual religious gathering. During Shravan, an estimated 30 million devotees hit the roads. The scale is so massive that the government literally has to divert traffic on major national highways just to accommodate this absolute sea of walking pilgrims. Here is how the logistics of this incredible journey actually break down. First, the pilgrims travel to fetch holy water directly from the Ganges River, usually from sacred spots like Gomukh or Haridwar. Second, they walk almost entirely barefoot for days on end to carry this water back. And finally, the ultimate goal is to pour that fetched water to anoint their local Shiva shrines back in their own hometowns. It's this massive, beautiful loop of devotion.
And the physical toll? It's honestly mind-blowing. Take the famous route from Sultanganj to Deoghar. That is a punishing 105-kilometer journey. And remember, these pilgrims are completely barefoot the entire way. They strictly avoid putting the water down on the ground, and they are fueled for miles and miles by continuous rhythmic chants of Bol Bam, while local communities set up camps to give them food and medical aid along the highway. When you step back and look at the big picture, this massive human migration is really just a giant, barefoot thank you. They're thanking the sacred waters of the Ganges and celebrating the life-giving arrival of the monsoon rains. The crazy thing is, the water they carry in those kanwars is the exact same water that nourishes the tiny Harela seeds sitting in a dark room miles and miles away.
So, whether we're talking about a single seed sprouting in the quiet dark of a family home, or 30 million people walking together down a roaring highway, the monsoon connects it all. It really shows us how interwoven nature, survival, and human devotion actually are. It kind of leaves us to wonder, in our modern world where we're so insulated from the weather, what natural rhythms are we missing out on? And how does the arrival of the changing seasons transform your own spiritual landscape?